Opposition leader Peter Dutton has spent 2 days in Alice Springs, hearing firsthand about the crime and child abuse crisis facing the town. He's reiterated calls for a royal commission into child sexual abuse in the Territory, upsetting, it seems, one ABC reporter. Here's a reminder of what happened.
And what evidence do you have that there is this so-called rampant child sexual abuse occurring in remote central Australia?
Well, with respect, that's such an ABC question. Do you live locally? Do you speak to people on the streets? Do you hear what it is they're saying to you?
Well, the so-called rampant abuse, let me tell you the stats, which is what our reporter here found out, Darwin Bureau Chief Matt Cunningham. These are the stats, and they prove that Mr Dutton is absolutely right. Child abuse and neglect in the Territory is being reported at almost 5 times the rate of any other jurisdiction. 5 times the rate. 95 children per 1,000 in the Northern Territory were the subject of an investigation or notification to Child Protection Services in 2021. That's compared to 23 in New South Wales. Joining me now is National Senate Leader Bridget McKenzie. Bridget, thank you so much. The statistics, they're sickening. You don't want to be right on this stuff, but something has to be done.
Yeah, absolutely, Erin. And like you made remarks in your opening comments that were very courageous, it is the reportable stats that Matt's dug out, which say 5 times the rate of the national average. Like, that is astounding. And I completely back Peter Dutton's call for a royal commission. You mentioned earlier the R word. I call out racism, because if this was happening in a suburban community in Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne, there would be a social worker on every doorstep. There would be police on every corner to make sure that children were safe. I was the Minister for Regional Development under Malcolm Turnbull when a 2-year-old was raped in Tennant Creek. And we were sent up there to implement a regional plan between the local council, the Territory Gunner government back then, and the federal government to actually map out the services. Where were the gaps? How could this be happening in modern Australia, to make sure it didn't keep happening? So Albanese needs to stop waiting for a voice that may or may not ever happen, get on a plane, get to the Territory and start sorting this out. It is untenable for a Prime Minister to know that this is going on and to continue to ignore not just Peter Dutton's call, but the call from these community members, leaders and parents.
Oh, it's absolutely sickening. And as I said earlier, where is the outrage on this kind of stuff? As a mother, not even as a mother, it is just, the thought is, as I said, so sickening. Let's now move on to the Voice referendum. And we've got the parliamentary hearing starting in Canberra today. We know that Julie and Lisa resigned from the front bench this week to campaign for the Yes case. Is there anything the government could do, do you think, that would change your mind?
Yeah, not for me, Erin. I'm very much in favour of reconciliation and indeed of recognition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in our Constitution. And I've come to that as a constitutional conservative over many years of involvement in parliamentary inquiries on this exact question when I was on the backbench many years ago. So I now am fully behind recognition in the Constitution. But the Voice in and of itself, being in the Constitution, I think is a retrograde step. This is our founding document. We do not understand the unintended consequences, and we've got legal minds such as, Craven, Gleeson, Callanan, all coming out talking about the unintended consequences. So I have huge concerns. Do we need to be listening to local communities to get things delivered better for them and their future? Of course we do. And we all need to do better than that. And that was one of the initiatives we tried in government with the regional deal into Tennant Creek, as I spoke of earlier. But legislating this is one thing. You can legislate a voice tomorrow, Anthony Albanese could, but putting in our founding document, which is there to treat all of us equally, whether you arrived on this great continent 40,000 years ago, in the 1850s during the Scottish clearances, or indeed post-Vietnam War on the boat arrivals. all of us expect to be treated equally under the law and by our institutions that are enshrined in the Constitution, and not have some Australians more equal than others.
I want to ask you about potential candidates now for Dad's federal Senate position, and that was, of course, Senator Jim Molan. Now, the New South Wales Liberal Party President, Maria Kovacic, has been named, I think, as the Moderates' front runner. So we've got her there. Former Liberal MP Fiona Scott has said she's contemplating running. I think she did that on Paul Murray's show last night. Liberal sources say Andrew Constance could be successful if he cobbled enough support from Conservatives. I know Matthew Mason-Cox is believed to be keen as well. I think Warren Mundine, I read in the paper as well, is a potential. Bridget, what do you think?
Well, Erin, very, very big shoes to fill, as you know. And I hope that the New South Wales Liberal Party sends us another great patriot like former Senator Jim Molan, your dad. Far be it from me, though, I've been in politics long enough to know that it's not my bailiwick to be commentating on the Liberal Party, let alone the New South Wales division. So I hope that there is a broad depth of candidates. It's a huge honour to fill Jim's shoes, and I hope they send someone of his calibre and capacity, as rare as that is, to Canberra, because his contribution was significant and it's a huge opportunity for the New South Wales division. Why don't you throw in your hat? We need more strong, powerful women.
I've had the application link sent directly to me by a few people, and a few fairly prominent people too, but not for me quite at this stage. But I didn't think you'd weigh into who, but what you said I think was beautiful, and I'm clearly biased, but they are very big shoes to fill. Bridget, it's a return of mice in regional New South Wales, with the warning of another potential mouse plague to hit. Farmers say they're seeing mice from Queensland all the way down to the Victorian border. How crucial is it, and this is a real change of pace, I know, but how crucial is it that we stay on top of this issue?
Look, I hate to admit this on your show, Erin, because I can handle political heavyweights, the Labor Party, snakes and spiders, but I become a 1950s housewife around mice, and it's because I grew up in a wheat belt during the last Great Plague in like the 80s, where they were in our walls, they were in our shoes, they were running past our cats, they didn't care. Every time I fed my horse, there were mice everywhere. It was just horrible. It is incredible. The devastation this tiny little cute mammal can wrought over our economic prosperity out in grain communities is significant, and we have to stay on top of it. We've heard stories of farmers catching up to 400 a day, which is just revolting. So I hope the CSIRO's working with local farmers, and I know that baiting programs need to be implemented, and I just hope they get on top of it.
Yeah, it's one of the real negatives, the downsides to the feminist movement, is that now we're expected to deal with rodents as well. I was quite happy to leave that to men previously, but for me it's spiders.
To the guys.
Fine, cockroaches fine, but spiders, no. But anyway, it's a very serious issue, so hopefully they make some progress. Bridget McKenzie, thank you so much for your time as always.
Always a pleasure, Erin.
Thank you.